Your Majesties, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Trust you and yours are well and you're loving yourself and others like always. Many thanks to all of you for the support you give to the channel. Thank you so much to our channel members, to our anonymous supporters, to all of you, my esteemed subscribers. You loved, celebrated, and appreciated. All right, today we'll talk about something delicate. It's delicate because of the people involved, and some of you have held these people in high esteem, not just you. When I listened to this, I was like, "What is really going on? What is really happening to us? Why are we so selfish and wicked to our own kind?" It's a question that ran through my mind, and I don't know what will run through your mind when you listen to this, but to cut the long story short, according to a political analyst, Adamu Garba, I'm going to bring him as soon. He said that French left Africa through the door, but they are back through the window. And the window that they had come in, the window that they had used back into Africa is Kagame. That's why I say it's going to be a delicate one because a lot of us hold Kagame in high esteem. And if you haven't forgotten, right from the time I started talking about DR Congo, the crisis in Congo and everything, I told you that there are key people, important people, respected people who are involved in the situation. They look innocent. You wouldn't believe that they have any hand or they have idea what is going on. But they are. And if you do small analysis or a little bit of critical thinking into this, you discover that if at all they do not have a hand in the situation of the Congo, they are in a position to look for a solution. If they do not have a hand in it, why are they not looking for a solution to the situation? Your Majesty. So today we are here to listen to this little analysis about Congo and her region and how France had come back. Remember, the Sahel region did everything possible to kick out France, to the point that the freedom fighters, the military leaders, Captain Ibrahim Traore, General Goita, and General Chiani, were given names because they took up that mantle of leadership by force. And why did they take that mantle of leadership by force? Because they want to liberate their region from the hold of the French war of you. A lot of people see them as tyrants. Remember, that's our Mr. Kofi, who had given a name to Ibrahim Traore, that he is a criminal. And I don't know why some of you misunderstood the information that I brought there. A lot of us are so emotional when it comes to things like this. We need to develop our minds and our hearts. We need to develop ourselves. Anyway, that's another discussion. So these freedom fighters have taken the bad name for their region to be good. They do not care whatever you call them. They are after the liberation of their region. After the whole effort that these Sahel leaders put in to push out France, no wonder Macron was not complaining lately. It's because he is back. He is back through the window, according to Adamu Garba. So I'm going to lead you to the discussion, and then we take it up from there, Your Majesties.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have been celebrating here that the French military forces have left Africa, right? And there are a lot of liberation in, of course, in Central African Republic, in Chad, in Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and even places like Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast. They also announced the withdrawal of military forces. In Senegal, we have the same case, right? Everybody is celebrating that this is the end of the Francophone Africa that dominates the civilization of the African states and dehumanize them for so long. But let me shock you. The French are 100% back in Africa. And this time around, they came back through a proxy, using one of the most celebrated, most renowned, most acknowledged African head of states, and that person is Paul Kagame. The same Paul Kagame of Rwanda that I and you mostly celebrate of his prowess, his achievement, his strides in terms of developmental progress in his state, that same person is actually working for the French. He has decided to make Rwandan military forces a direct operational base of the French interests in Africa. You saw the crisis that is happening in Democratic Republic of the Congo, the M23 rebel, the incursion that they had into the DRC, and they took over they did in Goma. It was a French operation. You saw what is happening in Mozambique, especially Delegado, that area where Total Energies invested 18 billion euro for Mozambique LNG. That same area where military forces, Rwandan military forces are based, are actually carrying out the French military operation. And this is the new French in Africa, right? They are trying to find a compromising, willing African head of state who is going to use Africans to continue to kill Africans in the name of protecting the interests of the French, just for the money they get. How did the French go to Rwanda? Remember what French did to Rwanda. They destroyed them, they killed them, they monitor the massacre that is taking place in Rwanda without doing anything. In fact, they were culpable. They instigated that massacre in Rwanda in 1994 April. To the point whereby the French President Emmanuel Macron in 2021 have to go to Rwanda to apologize on behalf of the French government for the atrocities they committed that is linked to the killing of more than 1 million Rwandans during the genocide in April 1994. Unknown to most of you, that after this apology, he and Paul Kagame went back into the room and signed 400 million euro contract that mandated the Rwandan military forces to rise up and begin to defend French interests in East Africa. And that's what is happening. The entire destruction that you see is happening in Democratic Republic of the Congo through the effort of the M23 rebel is actually French operation. This is shocking. That is why the president of DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Tshisekedi, decided to reach out to President Donald Trump and say that, good, Americans, I will want to give you the minerals. Since you are negotiating minerals right in Ukraine, it looks like you need these minerals. Currently, we have the Chinese. And China has no interest in carrying out military operations that is not directly affecting Chinese citizens in Africa. Of course, China too have military presence in Africa, but they don't carry out any operation that does not directly affect a Chinese citizen because of their policy of non-interference in African countries. And that is why the government of DRC want a military support. And the best way they want to do that is to try to bring American interests into the management of the mineral resources that is there in Bukavu and Goma. And these mineral resources are cobalt, coltan, uranium, these critical minerals that are needed to power in new industries in Europe. That is what China has that make them to have an edge over the United States, and that is exactly what DRC government is offering the Americans, and Trump is trying to take it. In fact, there is already a correspondence between Marco Rubio and the Secretary of State, of the DRC. So I think, or I can say the Foreign Minister of the DRC. So process have already been taking place. And one thing that is again shocking to me is that the government of the DRC are exchanging these critical minerals for weapons. Why don't they request for development? A better life for the people of the Congo, a better development, better advancement. Why are you asking for weapons to continue to kill Africans? Why will the M23 rebels be killing the DRC military forces, and the DRC military be killing, the M23 rebels, all Africans, killing Africans in the interest of the US and France? When will Africa wise up? When are we going to grow up? When are we going to be responsible to understand that we need ourselves to grow better, not our dead bodies? That is one thing that makes me to be annoyed with the president of the DRC. I used to respect him, but why will you demand for weapons to continue to kill fellow Africans? Tell the Americans to call the French forces to order so that they can withdraw the M23 rebel, and then demand that they should use the minerals but to develop your country. Not that they should give you weapons to start killing your people again. It's high time for Africans to stop killing each other in the interest of foreigners.
Your Majesties, that was Adamu Garba there. I always like his analysis. And what more can I put in? Because he has said everything. It is unfortunate the kind of situation that we are in. Little wonder Chisekedi had to run to America. Because I brought that information here where I said Chisekedi was giving out their minerals to America. But if this was the situation and he was looking for a solution, why must you go to America? These are the same group of people. They are there for their interest. They don't care about you. And that is why when you ask for ammunition, they didn't tell you that ammunition will not be good for you. Let's stop the war and go into infrastructure for your people. Of course, they're not going to propose that. That you said you want ammunition, they're going to give you ammunition, and they will go with the resources and develop their nation, and you'll be here with the ammunition, killing yourself like Adamu had rightly said. What is wrong with us? Why can't Chisekedi look into the Sahel and ask for help? And ask the Sahel, how were you able to kick out these people? How can't African leaders come together and look for a solution? Can't African leaders work out something among themselves? Can't Africans live together in peace and unity? Why should we look at fighting ourselves as the end source, end result? Your Majesties, this is, I don't know, it's so annoying, it's so painful that at this age and time, we still cannot solve our problems, all thanks to the wicked leaders that we have. No, Kagame is something else. And I don't see why most of you don't see through Kagame. There are things about Kagame I discovered, and I was so disappointed. It was that time I started having, speaking less about Kagame. You see, there's no so much about Kagame on this channel because of Your Majesties. A lot is going on that we are not aware of. A lot is going on. When you have a direct contact with a Congolese that is over 50 years, who grew up seeing how this whole problem generated, or a Congolese who is the age of Kagame and who had some connection to Kagame's government, you will understand in total about what I'm trying to say here. Your Majesties, we go behind, kill ourselves, come forward and talk like we are protecting our neighbors. We are trying to defend our neighbors. This is what we should think of most of the time when we think about the crisis in the Congo and why it's like it's not going to end. Your Majesties, and it is unfortunate that we are killing ourselves for the interest of America and France. It is quite unfortunate. I'm going to see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive, always. Your Majesties. Bye for now.